Hey guys, Mike in the Woods here. So, as you know, a few months ago I attempted a 300-kilometer backpacking trip on my electric skateboard. And although I had to bail halfway through, 150 kilometers on my e-skate on rough and gravelly backcountry roads and trails really did a number on the drivetrain. I even had to do a field replacement on one of my belts from how shredded they got. Gravel even managed to work its way up into the pulleys and just ground them down so much that right now, if I brake too hard, I actually get the belt slipping a little bit. So I finally got my replacement parts in. And since there was interest in the idea, I thought I'd bring you guys along for the ride while I inspect, repair, and replace parts of my electric skateboard and get it prepped and ready for next warm season when I can go skatepacking again. So a quick reminder to subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get started. Okay, so if you've watched any of my previous videos on the whole skatepacking thing, especially some of the more recent ones, you know that I wanted to replace the third small battery with a third large one. Finally came in. Literally yesterday, the day before filming this video, I finally got the battery in. I haven't even taken it out of the box it came in yet. So now I've got just shy of 1 kilowatt hour of battery capacity for my backpacking board. So that should get me up and close to the 50 kilometers of range with a bit of buffer for like hills and nasty terrain and stuff. Okay, so new batteries here. I also have the charger for it, so I got 3 fast chargers now. So first up, I just want to go around and tighten all the bolts on the trucks and everything, because they've probably gotten fairly loose from all the riding around the neighborhood I've done. I don't want to over tighten them because that can make the plastic on the case actually crack. So I don't think I'll actually tighten those up anymore. I think I'll leave them as is. So now for trucks. Again, same thing. Don't really want to over tighten them too much. Some of these are a little bit harder to get at because of everything else that's in the way. There, and that just sort of makes sure that all the trucks and everything else are held on securely, and I don't run the risk of a bolt coming loose on me mid-ride, especially on some of those rougher backcountry roads where it actually does get quite vibraty. Alright, so now that that's tightened up, let's take the GoPro off the light there and take a look at, get a close-up of everything that's going on under here. Alright, so we can start to get a bit of a close-up of what's going on here. As you can see, the motor mounts and everything have been all dinged up from all the gravel and stuff. They're actually holding up fairly well, so that's good news. You can see the belts are very, very shredded. I mean, if you look closely, you can see that there's little cuts and stuff in it. I don't know how well that's coming out on the camera, so I'm a little too close for it to focus properly. But there's just like little, yeah, you can see right there, just little flecks of it coming off. I mean, it is made using fibers, so it's resistant to tearing, but I mean, like, look at this. This is another example. This one's got to be replaced too. I'm going to swap them both to fresh belts and brand new pulleys. Because, like I said, I'm getting belt slippage from how much wear there is under there. I'm going to guess that underneath the belt, it is very, very torn up on the plastic pulley. One of the future projects I want to do is try getting a set of metal pulleys made for this. The wheels themselves, they're in pretty good condition. They're still fairly smooth. There's a couple spots where it's just starting to crack a little bit, but polyurethane naturally does that with age, especially when you ride it a lot. All right, so rear wheels are what get it the worst because they're used to accelerate and brake the board, but they're holding up all right. This is the ESC. This is the speed controller. This is what controls the board. It's like the brain of it. Essentially, the wireless remote talks to a wireless receiver that's in here somewhere, and then it controls how much battery juice it pulls from the battery and applies it to the motor. You can see the cables that snake from the ESC. I just kind of have them haphazardly duct taped to the deck, and they come up here and into the actual motors. My cable raceway that has been glued and duct taped, and that just goes from the ESC up and over, and actually goes into the battery case. Front wheels are doing fine. As you can see, the bearings are fine too. They don't really need to be replaced. I mean, they're, if you look, they're getting a little bit rusty on the outside, but it seems like they still spin okay. Probably seeing a tiny bit of range loss from it, but nothing I feel like I need to be concerned about. A couple dings and scratches on the trucks, but nothing major. I don't need to tighten the nut on the trucks because they have the perfect looseness to them right now, even the rear ones. Covering of the cable seems okay, so I don't need to do anything with that. And if I look at the deck itself, it's a pretty high quality deck. I don't see any signs of layer separation, which would mean I need to completely replace the deck, thankfully. Alright, so those are my two big batteries, and I finally got the third one. The third one is just a tiny bit smaller. These are 324 watt hour, I believe they're 9 amp hour batteries. This is only an 8 amp hour battery because they don't sell the 9 amp hour for whatever reason anymore. So not as big, but it still gives me a much needed range increase. I think it's because these are 18650 cells, whereas the new battery is 21700 cells. But yeah, as you can see, everything's all right in here. Batteries are kept nice and safe on the foam padding. Nothing damaged in the batteries. They can swap in and out as needed, so everything's looking good in there. Alright, so I think the next thing to do is to pop off those belt covers and swap out the belts and the pulleys, and that's going to be the tough one. So the nut comes off, and then there's a tiny little spacer in there that's got to come out too. Alright, come to daddy. Come on, there we go. Okay, spacer's out, and then this entire wheel should just lift right off. Oh man, that really did not want to come off. So this right here, this is the pulley. These inserts stick into the wheel. You can see the holes in the wheel there, and that's how torque is applied from the motor to the wheel itself. And it's looking pretty ground up in there. So next up is to take this belt cover off. I know I had one guy comment on one of my videos where it looks like it was really bent out of shape. That's because the cover actually pulls the motor flush with it. So as soon as I start loosening that up, the motor is now not under tension from that and just pulled by the belt. So as soon as that belt comes off, nothing's really holding it in. That can come off. Belt comes off of the motor like that, and then just slides right off like that. And we can see, I think this is the replacement that I had made, because I think this is the one that's in a bit better shape. You can see the actual belt is fine. It's not really anything too problematic on the inside, but it helps to just put a fresh belt on and make sure it's in tip-top shape. And then we pull the pulley off. I think it just pulls off like that. Yeah. It looks like there's a spacer on the outside and then on the inside. I haven't replaced one of these yet, so this is new to me. Yeah, so you can really see where some gravel has gotten in and like really ground up this pulley. It doesn't look too bad, all things considered. I don't think it's this one that was slipping. I think it was the other one. So this is what the motor mount looks like with nothing on it. No motor, no wheel or anything. Just the, well, it does have the motor, but no. Y'all get what I mean. Where's my box of parts? So this is what a brand new untouched pulley looks like. Let's get a side by side so we can see here. All right, so this is the old one. this is the new one. Yeah, you can really see how much it's been worn down. I want to get, like I said, I want to try getting a set of metal ones so that they're a lot harder to wear down from stuff like gravel. I think that'll do a lot for the resilience. Small bearing, large bearing. So I think that just goes like that. Yeah, I think the key is to not hit it too hard. I'm just doing it enough to get the bearing in. So I got that top bearing in, that's good. Put the little spacer in. Now we hammer the big boy in. There we go. Now I just got to screw the motor cover back on. Alright, and just like that, we've got a new motor and a new pulley installed. Oh, look at that. Oh, that feels good. It's got solid pull on that belt, brand new teeth on that pulley. So now we just slot the wheel back on, and that's one and done. Tiny little spacer goes on there. And we just gotta make sure that that's installed properly. Looks like it is. And then we take another spacer and then the nut. Okay, there we go. We've got everything all patched up and installed for the one. Let's take the GoPro off and out there and get a nice little close-up view for you. Everything's all nice and well sorted there. I think that is a pretty good job for my first ever pulley replacement and my second ever belt replacement. So next up, we got to do this guy. You can see the difference between the two. Old and busted, new hotness. Old and busted, new hotness. All right, let's get that second one switched. Okay, and just like that, we've got a completely brand new set of wheel pulleys and belts installed. That means this board is pretty much all good to go for once the warmer weather hits and I can go skate packing again. I've got all 3 batteries, all the wiring's holding up pretty well, deck's in good shape, tightened up all the bolts, and I think that concludes all the maintenance and repair that we need to do to this board. So if you're like me and interested in doing like backpacking style trips or touring trips or anything like that on your electric rideable, especially if it's an electric skateboard, I hope this was informative for you. As you can see, just those rough gravelly roads and gravel trails that I was riding really did a number on the drivetrain. But it's fine as long as you have the gear and equipment ready to make the swap as needed when you're in the field. So on that 300-kilometer trip, the only thing I really took with me was an extra set of belts, since those are the most likely thing to go. I think on future trips, not only am I going to take these, but I'm also going to take a completely replacement set of these pulleys. Board's now good to go for my next trip once the warmer weather hits. I don't want to use it during the winter because there's already salt on the ground because it started snowing and getting below 0 around here. And salt in electronics and these drivetrains is not a winning combination, and I want to keep the longevity of this board for as long as possible. So, if you are new to the channel, I combine fun, futuristic technology with traditional outdoors experiences, like electric skateboards and backpacking. Check out my other videos and consider subscribing if that's your thing. I also recently reopened my online 3D print and paracord shop, so check that out, link in the description, if you want to help out the channel and get a hold of some really cool and unique outdoors 3D prints. That's it for now. Hopefully this was useful for you guys. I'll see you next video.